Thank you. So next up this morning, I'd like to welcome to the stage Kerry Pinny. Kerry is a learning technologist from the University of Warwick, and she's going to be talking about ICT departments versus the world. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Now, as they say, something completely different. So, good morning. I hope Fuzzy Friday is kind of going to work out for me. Hopefully you'll either be too hungover to care. Oh no, my slides are all ugly. Oh no, my font's gone. I had a really funky cartoon font that's completely gone. So, yeah, the view of this is not quite as nice as it was earlier, but never mind. Exactly. At least I know what it feels like to be an academic now and walking into a room and not seeing what you're expecting, I suppose. So, hey ho, there we are. So what am I going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about things that people have told me, things I've experienced as a customer of ICT, as well as somebody who works in ICT. And I'm going to basically talk about the things that I've called them the 7 evils of ICT, and now I think about it, I wish I hadn't called them that. I'd rather call them the 7 enemies of ICT, because sometimes I think you're your own worst enemy. And these are some of the things I think that you do that really annoy other people. In teaching, they say one thing, they say, tell people what you're going to tell them it, and then tell them it again. So going at the end of the week, I've realised that people have already kind of said what I'm going to say. So you can consider this kind of the conclusion at the end, I suppose, where they've told you, and now I'm going to tell you what you should have learned this week. So, by all means, throughout this presentation, tweet at me, abuse me, do whatever you want. If you want to heckle, go on then. I'm not bothered. I do have a website, so if you've run out of things to read on the toilet, then by all means have a look at that. There's some things on there. So who am I? I'm an academic technologist, which means basically what I do is a little microcosm of ICT. So we do lots of service management type stuff. Don't do any techie stuff. I'm second line if you want to use the old first, second and third line support. But I support things like Moodle, Mahara, basically all the academic technologies within the university. But I'm in ICT, but I'm also a customer of ICT, and I often have to represent academics. And I will say from the beginning that I am a champion of academics, so this kind of presentation will be very much coming from that side of things. So I do a bit of service desk. I've done an ITIL course, so honestly I do feel your pain. I'm not just being horrible for the sake of it. I've been there, I've done it as well, and it's not very nice. So why am I here? Well, I came last year. Drew paid for it. Thanks, Drew. And I thought when I looked at the programme, I thought, oh, what have I signed myself up to? Oh, this is going to be so boring. I'm going to hate every minute of it. And I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was a brilliant conference. And when I came last year, I had a conversation with somebody, and he said, I hate educational technologists. I hate them. I thought, hang on a minute. Where I worked with Drew, I had a really good relationship with ICT, and I thought, what the hell's gone wrong here? That they could say that they actually hate their academic technologists. So I wrote a little blog about the relationship between ICT departments and people like myself. And it was kind of to show that we have this kind of reciprocal, respectful relationship and what we can do for one another to help each other. At least that's the way I've always thought of myself with ICT. I also sent out this rather intellectual tweet last year, and if you're following me on Twitter, you will note that I really like GIFs. So if you don't like GIFs, just don't follow me. There's no point, because that's all you're going to get. I'm going to be, oh, it's all got off the thing. If you don't know what the eggplant emoji means, I'm going to be a deliberate eggplant. Ask the person next to you. All right, so I'm going to say some things, and you're probably going to sit there going, oh, but we haven't got any money, and we haven't got any resource. I don't care. All right, this presentation is not going to be based on the reality of what you do. I'm talking about things, putting all of that aside. So I will be a deliberate eggplant, and I apologize for it now. But in a way, I don't really care. So before we begin, I think it's only fair, before I start laying into you all, to start by kind of covering sort of what you have to put up with. Okay, and these are things that I've experienced myself. These are the kind of things we get asked all the time. I've got someone arriving in 10 minutes and they need to get on this thing and it must be done now. They know about this for about a year, don't they? Yeah? But they email you 10 minutes before and it's absolutely imperative that you get them on there. I emailed at 9:03 and it's now 9:06 and you haven't replied yet. I had an academic that used to do this to me all the time. She'd email me and then 2 minutes later she'd email me about the same thing. Because I ain't got nothing else to do, you know. Yeah, I've emailed you loads of times, I've rung you all the time. You haven't answered my question. So you go back to them, don't you? You're really nice and polite, and you go, oh, so who did you contact? What email address did you use? And they never respond to that question, do they? And you know full well they've contacted no one. This one I had the other day. So I had someone emailed me something. I thought it was a joke at first. They said, winners don't use pop-ups. I went, this is some sort of joke. Someone's just taking the mick. But I thought, I'll bite. So I emailed them back and I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear you're having a problem. Could you tell me where you're having this problem and all that? And he came back and he said, oh, yeah, well, I'm on this Moodle site, a SCORM package is opening up in a new window, and I was a web developer in the 90s, and you don't use pop-ups, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, well, with those kind of credentials, why are you not head of the web team, my friend? This one I get a lot. It's working at home, or I can install it at home. Why can't I use it here? Because it's not the same. But they don't get that. They don't understand that. This one. I've got the biggest problem that's ever happened to anyone ever, and it must be fixed now. And they've given you no information whatsoever. So you go back to them and you say, what's the problem? Nothing. Radio, absolute radio silence from them at that point. And then you just give up caring. This one I bet you hear all the time. Oh, hey guys, we've bought this thing. Can you just plug it in and stuff so that we can start using it? Because people get their own money, don't they? Ooh, people that get their own money and buy stuff. This one is the vagaries that people send you. So they'll send you something like, oh, I've got this big problem with Word. You're like, oh, narrow it down a bit. Just tell what's the problem. And you go back and you have email ping pong with this people, and it turns out that in reality, the problem, they could have Googled it. This one is people that say that the thing isn't working the way they expect it to, but won't accept that that's just the way that it works. So I often get people go, why doesn't Moodle do this? It's broken. It's not working. You go, no, that's just how it works. And they will not accept that at all. The people that ask you questions that they could just Google. And you know full well that they will go, oh, how do I do a macro? And all you're going to do is Google it and then send them it anyway. Sometimes you just think you can have one of those canned responses that is, try Googling it, but you can't, can you? The last one, some people are just downright rude. Yeah, some people, and we know that it all comes from different places. We don't know what's going on in their lives. We all know that stuff. But this is something that a student sent me once. So a student was having problems with Blackboard, which was a Blackboard problem. Nothing to do with us. We couldn't fix it. Anyone that's got Blackboard knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, they aren't fixing something, but that's my fault. That's me. I've done that. And he started sending me emails calling it crapboard. And then he started sending me screenshots calling it crapboard. In the end, I just sent him to his head of school, and that was the end of that. I never heard from him again, but sometimes you do just want to bang your head against the brick wall. So I do know, all right? I'm not just going to have a go at you not knowing what you do. I do know. The problem is, you guys are the broad side of the barn, all right? You are the easy target. If anybody has a big fat target on their head, it's ICT, and everybody's bile and hatred is all sort of funneled at you. It may not even be your fault, but damn it, we're going to blame you for it anyway. The reason for that is essentially that everything that happens in a university is sort of underpinned by you. Yeah? So I think the main reason that we have universities is for this stuff, for working with students, teaching, academic side of things. And that's all underpinned by these things, and all of these things are underpinned by you. If we took you out, what happens to all of this stuff? Most of it doesn't actually happen. And unfortunately, I find that this one, yeah, and where is the other one? This one, like to suck all of your time. HR and admin. Oh yeah, we've got to get on that. And that's the problem. As soon as we take you out of that equation, everything breaks down. But everything that you do supports these people. And when that goes wrong, you get all of these people focusing back on you. Because it's your fault. Everything's your fault. We've all seen this. Had a bit of an update this year. Yeah, so I think this is estates more than you. I don't think you do plugs, but you do that bit, the Wi-Fi bit. And as you can see, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Wi-Fi is more important than food, shelter, and warmth. Your basic physiological needs. It's funny, isn't it? We all laugh at it and go, ah, ha, 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 isn't that funny? But it's really true, isn't it? Because what the hell happens when the internet goes out? Yeah? What process happens in a university that doesn't involve the internet? I barely think of a single one. Answers on a postcard. All right? But I can't think of very many things that don't somehow involve the Wi-Fi. And of course, as soon as anything like that happens, service desk gets a hammering. I'm sure you've all seen this cartoon. I love this cartoon because it describes your life. Your problem is, or ICT's problem is, you are never going to please everyone. Ever. Yeah? Everybody's different, everybody wants something else. And the best part about it is, nobody actually knows what they need. Yeah? Or, they all want something slightly different. So this cartoon, if you've not seen it before, is all the different kind of people, and then what each of them wants and how that's interpreted. And that's kind of what you do. You take all of this noise and interpret it into something that makes some sort of sense. And of course, it's never right for anybody. And if you ask 100 people what they want, you're probably going to get 100 different answers. And that's the thing that you have to deal with. And you're never going to please everyone. And I've kind of come to the conclusion now, and I have to do it in my own life, and think, I'm always going to annoy someone. No matter what I do, I'm always going to annoy someone. And I've kind of let that go to the universe now, and I've just kind of let it go, because otherwise I get an ulcer if I carried on. So, little quote that I always like. Digital technologies will no more solve the crisis in education than airbags will stop drivers from having accidents. What does that mean? Technology, there's this whole thing about somehow technology will save everything. You know, if we just stick a bit of technology on it, that'll fix it. But of course it won't. All airbags do is they reduce the amount of injury. You know, they limit the amount of injury. And that's all technology can do. You can't stop people having crashes. They're still going to crash whether there's an airbag there or not, because that's a people thing, isn't it? People crash because they're not concentrating, they're driving too fast. You know, someone makes a mistake. The airbag just means that they don't get hurt as much, and that's all technology can do. It can just make things a little better, but it can never solve the underlying problem. This one again, from Peter Bryant, who works at LSE. There isn't a single out-of-the-box solution. Yesterday when we were having the panel session, it kept coming back to trying to find a single answer to this question of how do we support everybody? Should we do it face-to-face? Should we do it online? Should we do it on the phone? Should we have people you can go to? Should we have appointments? There isn't a single answer to that. Because no matter what you do, you're never going to please everybody. And we can't, what we sort of have to do, and what the university as a whole has to do, is stop looking to technology to fix things that it simply cannot fix. So, first enemy of ICT. Yeah? You are a dark art, all right? And I think you kind of like it like that, don't you? You kind of like to be this sort of boys' club, oi oi, it's ICT, you know, no one's allowed in. But that's kind of your problem. So Stuart the other day, what was he talking about? The fact that nobody can see you. Nobody can see you because they don't understand what you do. They don't know what you do. And even if they know what you do, they don't understand what you do. I don't understand what you do. I really don't. I don't really care either, to be quite honest with you. I can't think of anything more tedious. But I don't know what you do. If I don't know what you do, and I work in IT services, how the hell is anybody else supposed to know what you do? I love this quote. I found it online from Reddit. You might not be able to read it. It's a bit funny because the font's all gone funny. If you don't understand it, it's magic. If you practice magic, you're a witch. Kill the witch. All right? And that's true, isn't it? Okay? If I don't understand something, barriers go up straight away, and I go, no, I'm going to dismiss this. I'm not interested. And with academics, that's something they will do straight away. If they don't like it, that's it. You're in for it then. And they won't let it go either. They're dogged, aren't they? They will not let it go. And I know you kind of like to develop this whole, like, ICT is really hard. What we do is really hard, and you have to be, like, really clever to do it. Oh, we're experts in what we do, and you can't understand it. But that's kind of what is not doing you a favour here. You know? If people don't know what you do, they can't understand it. If they can't understand it, they can't empathise with you. Yeah? So we've got to kind of start changing that. Number 2. Gareth's assistant. Mine. You seem to think you own everything. You don't. I keep trying to come up with a sort of analogy for it, but I kind of think of you like custodians. You put the thing in for other people, and then you look after it. But at the end of the day, you don't own everything. You don't own email. It's just a service that you offer, but you don't own it. The 30-odd thousand people that are at your university that actually use it are the owners of it. The university is the owners of it. You don't really even own the network. You just create the network and you look after it and people use it. You do things for people to use. There's a quote from myself and Tim, a colleague from Lincoln formerly. We did a 2020 last year and we did a little mini research project with some academics. And they said, I get the feeling that everything that ICT do is set up to suit ICT. So there you go, straight away, you're on a losing streak there already. You don't own anything. It's not your job to tell me what I do and don't need. You don't know what I do or don't need. Why is it up to you to decide, in isolation, not having spoken to a single person, what email client I should use? Why is that up to you? I know it's up to you. Don't start doing the whole, it's because we've got to make sure it's secure and we've got to make sure it works with our infrastructure and all that stuff. I get that. But put that aside for a minute. Why is it up to you? Why is it okay for you to go and do something without asking a single human being what they want? I don't think that's okay, and that's why people get annoyed at you. And then you wonder why they get annoyed. Next one. We all know this one. Computer says no. And I get why computer says no. Again, I get about security and does it work with our infrastructure and I get all of that. But the fact is, you do say no. I get this all the time. So what I do is people come to me and they say, what we'd really love to happen is for Moodle to do this. Or, well, you know what, we'd really love a system that would do this, because that would allow us to do this with our students, and that would be really beneficial. And I go, great idea, lads. Let me go and speak to ICT about that. And you go, no. And I go, cheers, guys. Now I'm going to have to go and say no to them. So I have to go back and I have to say to these people, no, we can't do that. And they go, why? Well, I don't know. They didn't really explain to me why it's a no. It's just a no. Yeah, and people get annoyed about that. And yes, I know, I get it, why you don't have enough money, you don't have enough people. I get all of that stuff. All right? I'm not saying that that's not a thing for you guys to deal with. But at the end of the day, you're here, and we're all supposed to be working to the same end. Yeah, we're all supposed to really be here, in my opinion, to make everything better for our kind of the end of the line, the students. And if somebody comes to you with something that says, you know what, this is a great idea, this would make it really better for my students, it might be really hard, and it might take a long time. But if you say to them, look, we can't do this now, but you know what, we need to do these 3 things, and you know what, by next year we'll have that, they're going to be far more respectful and happy and grateful most of the time than if you just go, no, come back next year, fill out this 76-page form and we might think about it. You know, they're going to be far more happy with you. This one, so link to the last one. It's where innovation goes to die. So again, people come out and they go, oh, full of pith and vinegar. Oh, I've got this great idea. I've got this brilliant idea. It's going to change the world. It's going to change everything about ICT. It's going to change everything about my students' lives. And again, they go to you and you go, you know, you sort of kick the tires. No, we can't do that. No, that's too much work. We don't have enough people, love. We don't have enough resources, all of that stuff. And people stop trying at that point, don't they? Yeah, so you know the people that buy stuff without coming to talk to you, that's because they've been to talk to you before and they got, no, we're not doing that. So they think, well, sod you then. I'm going to go around you. You're going to do it anyway, if you do. So I'm just going to go and do it myself, or I'm going to employ my own IT team. Get my own IT team, and I'm going to do what I want to do. Sod you. Do what I want. Yeah? And I'll talk later on. I've got some sort of ideas and things that I think that would help this sort of thing. And the innovation thing in particular, I think, get a process around it then. Yeah? Get a process around it. If you go, I'm sure if you went to senior management and you said, you know all that innovation stuff that you've got in your strategy? Because every strategy pretty much says innovative teaching, innovative research, forward thinking, thought leaders, all that nonsense. If you said, you know that thing you put in the strategy, we've got a way that we can do that for you, but we need this amount of money, and we need to get these people. But we can do that. If you give us that, we'll do that. I bet you they're more likely to give that to you, because you're hitting all their little tick boxes. You know, the middle management tick boxes of, oh, does it meet the strategy? and all that stuff, crack on. This is my most hated one. And I think people throughout the week have been talking about this. Francesca did a brilliant talk yesterday, if you went along to it, the technophobe talk, about the fact that if she'd just gone and spoke to people, she'd have saved herself redoing a whole project because she didn't bother to ask people. So she built, or I don't know if anybody was there, but if you weren't, just for the benefit of you guys, they redid their whole AV setup in a room. And they thought, you guys are going to love this. We found all the shiniest stuff and we've thrown it at the wall and we've seen what's stuck and you're going to love it. And then they walked in and she went, look upon my creation. Look upon my creation and tremble at its magnificence. And they all went, this is crap, mate. Yeah, this doesn't do what I just want to come into a room, press a button and the screen comes on. That's all I want. I don't want to have to press 70 buttons to turn on those screens over there. She was saying that people didn't even realise that they could turn the screen around, so that if they weren't stood behind the lectern, they were stood in front of it, they could actually look at it. And that's mainly because you didn't know what people want to do when they're in that room. You don't know. I'm not a teacher. I don't stand in front of people all the time. I don't know what they want. But if I ask them, they'll tell me. And half the time, they don't want all the bells and whistles. The amount of times I've put in requests for equipment, technology, whatever it might be, and ICT have come back and you've gone, yeah, but there's this like way better one that does like all of these things and it's got like bells and whistles on it and it's got bows on it and stuff. And I've gone, I don't want bells and whistles because I know that that lecturer over there won't know what to do with bells and whistles. I want the thing that's going to work, that they're actually going to use. Yeah? I don't want all the bells and whistles. I don't want it. And you keep talking about, oh, we're so invisible and no one cares about what we do and oh, no one rewards us for what we do. Well, they never see you, do they? You sit in rooms, the other side of campuses, hiding away from people, doing everything you possibly can. I mean, someone said, it was Steve on Twitter, said, we're trying to find ways to limit the amount of contact we have with people. Can we do it by phone? Or if we can we do text chat so we don't even then have to hear people as well? You know, if they don't see you, they don't know you're there. I dragged a senior member of ICT staff along to a meeting with me once. And literally, the eyes were like this. They were like saucers. Because people just laid into him. Because they were the first member of ICT they'd seen in about 6 months. And they get fed up of calling the service desk. Yeah? Because they go into rooms and they report something's wrong. Someone said it the other day when they were talking about their AV room. Why don't people tell you when stuff is broken? It's because they've told you and you did nothing. So they don't bother telling you again. I remember being in a room once and there was no PowerPoint or Word. The whole Microsoft Office suite wasn't on there. I was with someone who worked in ICT at the time as well, which was even funnier. So I rang up the service desk and I said, I'm in this room and there's no Microsoft Office. They went, nah. You just don't know what you're looking for, love. Let me tell you where it is. Click on this. And I was like, I know how to use a computer. Yeah, it's not here. You just dismissed me. You just dismissed me straight away as though I was some sort of idiot that didn't know where Microsoft Office was. Whereas if you just listened to me, I could have told you I was stood with somebody from ICT. Yes, we've turned it off and on again, and Microsoft Office isn't there. I then went back a couple of days later, same problem still there. But nobody bothered to report it again, because they know that you ain't going to do nothing about it. That's the problem. And if you're going to start doing stuff, especially with academic staff, if you're going to do stuff with them, then go and ask them. Yeah, don't go, oh, we don't know what anybody wants, and then everyone complains afterwards. Well, go and ask them then. Yeah, and the more you get out there, because there's always that thing of, well, they don't really want to come and talk to us. Of course they don't want to talk to you, because they ain't never seen you before. Yeah, you've never listened before, so why are you going to listen now? As soon as you start changing that whole rhetoric around what ICT is like, have people out there, go and meet people, go speak to people. Someone said it the other day in one of the talks. He forces, I can't remember who it was, that forces senior management to go to meetings. Was it, who was it? Was it Tony that said it in his 2020? I can't remember. But someone said, I force my management to go on to staff meetings. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of stuff hurled at you. You know, a lot of poo flung at you when you go to these things. But you know what's nice and what they like about it is you're listening to them and you're owning it. Yeah, you're going, yeah, mate, we know. We're We're not quite doing it right, are we? But leave that with me, and I'll come back to you. If you listen to them, that's half the problem. It shows that you give a toss. It shows that you actually care about the people that you're working with. I was really annoyed, because I thought I'd be the first person this week to have a Tina Turner reference, and Stuart beat me to it. So what's teaching got to do? Got to do with it everything. Yeah? I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you think. But I think the whole reason that universities exist is for students. What happens when they stop turning up? We stop getting paid, don't we? There might be research stuff going on, but they can go do that somewhere else. They don't need to be at university necessarily to do it. But as soon as the students stop turning up, that's when all our money's gone. I found that HR, finance, stuff like that seems to be the sole focus of ICT half the time. You're always doing some project for them. Oh, they need a new finance system. Oh, they need a new HR system. Oh, they want this. It's like everything that you do is based on them. It's like every time you go to ICT to say we want to do this, we want to do this project, it's like, oh, we can't, love. We've got to do this HR thing because they're the ones that shout the loudest. Or they shout really loud, and so we're going to do what they ask us, because if we say no, then the VC will come and tell us off. That's not what we're here for, is it? And I would put it to you that you should totally flip the way you think about the university. Yeah, there are business processes that have to happen. I'm not saying that they don't. If they're not there, then it's chaos, it's mess. I totally agree with that. But they should be in the background. They should just be things that are being done. They shouldn't consume every minute of ICT's lives. I didn't put my TEF score up here, mainly because we've got silver. And also because I think TEF is it's kind of like running a beauty contest, but you're 6 miles away and you're looking at it through a telescope with Vaseline on the lens. Yeah? It's as far removed from teaching as it possibly could be. So I didn't put mine up there. You know, everybody's got gold, so I didn't want to put mine up there. But TEF, NSS results, all those things, those are kind of what determines whether students are going to turn up. Yeah, they don't know that NSS is completely flawed. They don't know that TEF is a complete load of nonsense. They don't know that, because they don't know that the measures are all nonsense. But they're going to look at that and they go, oh yeah, do I want to go there or do I want to go there? And you know that universities, we all do it, we put the shiniest stuff at the top of the website, don't we? Yeah? There's only one room that's got this in it, but God, put it at the top of the website. They'll think they're going to get that. They're going to think they're in there all the time, and they're not. So what we have to do is support the thing that is most important to the university. And to me, that's teaching, and to an extent, research as well. But mainly it's about teaching, it's about students, because as soon as students stop turning up, we ain't getting paid anymore. They won't need us because there's no students, so who are we going to teach? And what do we need a big ICT team for? We don't really. A lot of people are outsourcing their IT now, aren't they? So I think, and you can disagree with me as much as you like, please do, it's more fun that way. I think you need to flip your whole focus and stop worrying about HR and finance and estates, for that matter, and all the other stuff. That although it needs to get done, I don't disagree with you, it's not the most important thing at a university. It's not. It's really not. Okay? And when you stop doing that, you'll start to actually please the people that are most annoyed at you. You know, which is usually academics and to a large extent students as well. Give them what they want, they're going to like you. Show that you're interested, show that you care about what they do, and they'll be with you. Last one. So this is what the whole conference is about, isn't it? It's trying to get rid of that IT crowd kind of reputation that you have, that you just hate people. But God, some of you hate people. Oh, there are some people in ICT that you know full well, if they could just lock themselves in a cupboard like Richmond, lock themselves in a cupboard and never come out, they just go home and go to work through a sort of tunnel. They never have to see someone. They absolutely would. And I don't blame you. People can be horrible. People are messy. They don't often make any sense. Yeah? They're hard work. Academics especially are hard work. By God, they're hard work. I spend my days trying to make them use technology. Yeah, so I know that they're difficult. But essentially, as this whole conference has said, tell them what they've learned, tell them again. It's all about people, isn't it? Yeah? Because this technology, pretty worthless really if no one's using it, isn't it? What's the point of it? It's just a thing that sits there. And if people don't like it, they're not going to use it either. So I get it. People are horrible, people are annoying, people are just, they don't, they can seem really cold and horrible sometimes, that they just really, really don't care about you. But it works both ways. Someone said on Twitter that respect should go both ways. And I totally agree with that. Respect should go both ways. Usually, most people start off from a position of respect anyway, don't they? Most people give you the benefit of the doubt. But as soon as you lose them, that's it. Especially academic staff. As soon as you've lost them, that is it. You're public enemy number one. And not only will that academic go and whinge, they'll then go and whinge to everybody else that they know. And that's how these things sort of spread pervasively through the university. Because you pissed one of them off, they'll all gang up on you. That's how it kind of works. And it's not easy. I'm not trying to pretend that it is. But if you understand people, you're going to be better off. So these are our weapons against evil. What can we do? Come out of the basement. Stop hiding. Stop being the people that are in some room. You go into, have you ever been into an ICT office? I don't know if you have. I've been into one, and it was silent. It was the sort of like, yeah, I just want to go talk to that guy. And you're sort of walking through this really awkward room where people are sort of looking at you like, we only like locals here, And then you wonder why people don't want to talk to you. You're stuck behind locked doors, so people can only get so far. I can speak to someone on the phone, I might be able to go to a desk, but that's it. Ooh, you're not going any further. Oh, no. Ye shall not pass beyond the barrier of service desk. That's as far as you're allowed to go. Go to meetings. Go out, just say to someone, look, we're going to go sit in a room. Come and talk to us. Come and find out a little bit about what we do. Days in the life of, I think they're brilliant. Show people what you do. Prioritise people skills. I think Stuart said it. What was it he said? The quote about behaviour. If you show me how you'll measure me, I'll show you how I'll behave. So if you want good people skills, reward good people skills. Employ people with good people skills. Technical skills can be learnt to a large degree. People skills are really hard to learn. They're really hard to ingrain in people. This is really important to me. Support your service desk. Your service desk are the people that, so they get the bile from the users, and then they also then get bile from you. Because, they routed the ticket to the wrong place. Oh, not again, they've done this last week. They could have fixed that themselves, why have they sent that to me? They don't know what you don't tell them. Yeah? They get all the crap. They take all of it. You should be helping them, supporting them, not dragging them down, making them feel bad, saying that they're not doing a good enough job. Stop it. What Stuart said, reward and recognise talent. So if there are good people out there, show them that they're good. Again, if you show me how you measure me, I'll behave that way. So if there's things that people do and you think, you know what, you're really showing that you care about people and you're thinking about that, then say it. Say they've done a good job. It's a bit hanging off the bottom there. So this is a mistake I've made many times. Don't sell tech as a solution. Because it ain't. David White in his Alt-C presentation in his keynote said, if you find a problem and you go to technology to be the answer, everyone will be disappointed. Because it's never an answer. It does a bit, doesn't it? It does bits of things. Makes things a little bit more efficient perhaps. Makes some things a little bit easier, but it's never actually a solution to anything. Oh, okay then. Okay, so support innovation, down the bottom there. What do I mean by that? Get a process around it then. If you don't have time, don't have money, get a process around it. Go to somebody and say, look, we've got this, we're going to do this now. This is what we're going to do to support innovation at the university. I need this much money and this many people. Are you going to give it to me? They'll probably go, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah? Make it so that people can come to you with an idea. There's some sort of process for piloting and then for evaluation. And then if it's no good, you start that loop again. But if it's good, then you have a way to get it into production. Yeah? That's what they want. That's all they really want. They want a chance. They want to try. Be an advocate, not the opposition. What I mean by that is, be people's champion. So I always try to think of myself as the academic champion. I will always stand up for them, even when they're wrong. I will stand up for them and I will be on their side because I care about what they do and I think it's important. So when people come to you and you say no, say, okay, yeah, we've had to say no this time, but you know what we'll do? We'll help you write that business case. We'll help you get that money and then we'll help you do that. You know, I'll come along to all of your meetings. You know, we'll come along to your meetings and we'll tell them that we think it's a good idea and what a great idea it is and we'll help you and we'll back you up on this. Be their advocate, be people's champions, not their enemies. Create a feedback loop. Simplest one, libraries do it all the time. You said, we did. Yeah? You said you didn't like this, so what we did was, we did this. And they go, great, thank you. I'm happy now. I've seen you've taken what I've said and you've done something with it. Brilliant. Drop the jargon in general, just in general, but I also think drop things like customers and users from your vocabulary. Because they're not customers, they're not users, they're people. I started doing this, I started saying, the customer has asked me for this. I went, no, stop. Hannah has asked me for this. And using their name means that I remember that it's actually a human being at the other end that's asking me for something that has needs and wants and desires. Yeah? Drop the jargon, stop calling them that, and talk to them like they're human beings. They don't understand ITIL, no one cares about ITIL. No one. Yeah? Well, we'll have to talk to the service manager about that, and then we'll have to put a change in. No one cares! Just do it and shut up. No one cares. Assume nothing. Lots of things this week have been, like, digital natives, I hate that, that's an assumption, all those things. Assume nothing. Yeah? Everybody's not the same. Everybody's not a homogenous group. Yeah? Like I say, you're always going to piss someone off. Yeah? Because nobody's the same. Assume absolutely nothing. And if you don't know, go and bloody ask. So if you don't know what that person does or what that change will mean to them, go and ask some people. It's not hard, is it? And learn about people, learn about what they do. So if you're going to do a project that's going to do something to people, go and learn about them. What does that mean for those people? What change will that make to their lives? That for me is the most important one. Someone said to me, someone in our feedback last year, a member of ICT said, I don't know what academics do. And I went, what? You don't know what they do? Have you even bothered to ask? Do you even care? You should care. Because that's why students are here. If you don't care, what's the point? So those are the kind of things that I think. You can't see that. It's a bit of a mess. What do they all have in common? They're all free, virtually. All of them are free. They don't cost nothing. You don't need more people to do any of these. Yeah? And they're only about people, aren't they? They're about people skills. They're about the way you treat people, the way that you see people. Leave you with a couple of quotes. This is from Laurie Phipps, who works for GISC. Digital is about people. So it's about how technology enables people to do something. It's how it helps people to interact with one another, what benefits that will bring to them. You can put the shiniest thing out there that you like, but the shiny is not important. All right? It's about how it helps people to work together, to be with each other. That's the most important thing. And if you keep that at the forefront of your mind, job's on. Messy again. But thanks for having me. Again, if you've got any comments or anything, feel free. I didn't get any heckles. I'm a bit disappointed. But please, feel free to have a go at me. There are some quotes. Oh, such a mess. Everything here, there's some quotes, some blogs, some different things that you can go away and read if you want to and go away and watch. That's up to you. But thank you very much. Just in time. Yeah.
So we are kind of running a little bit on time, but I do think that this is, so we'll cut into break a little bit and just open the floor up for questions, because I do think there's going to be a lot of interest.
We ain't got no money.
There we go. Andrew?
You said that if people don't know how to do things, they should Google it. So
Yep.
I Googled
Yep.
eggplant emoji. And I
Ooh, so.
no idea why you told us that you were going to be an eggplant.
Does anyone just want to whisper to Andrew what that means, or should I? I'll go back. Let's see if I can get back to that. La, 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 la. What does an eggplant look like? The emoji.
Don't go.
That's what I mean. I was going to be a deliberate what the eggplant looks like. Yeah. Yeah. I think there it is. La, 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 la. You no. There's a flag up somewhere now with your name on it. They're coming for you. we'll get off that.
So, Kerry, your weapons against
Mhm.
evil
Mhm.
all look great,
Mhm.
free. But I don't think any of them are specific to ICT.
No, they're not.
So, to what extent should our academics be thinking about as well?
Oh, yeah.
The values, the government behaviours.
Yeah.
Is this actually a way for organisation to be
Yeah.
involved?
Definitely, definitely. They're things that everybody should do anyway, aren't they? Actually, none of them are new. You're probably all sitting there going, well, I kind of knew that anyway. But if we were doing it, we wouldn't be talking about it anymore. We wouldn't have conferences like this. Actually, yeah, if the universities all took those, if I could give them, we should print them out perhaps on little laminates or something. We should hand them to academics and go, this is what I'm going to do for you, so you do this for me, and we'll all get along nicely and I'll be happy. Like I say, I think most people start out from a position of respect, but usually people have come, something has happened that just, that's it. You're disappointed once, that's the end of it, isn't it, I think. Yeah, so, I don't know, maybe you should do that. Maybe that's an idea. Say, these are going to be our values, like Alistair said, wherever he is. These are our values, and we expect them to be reflected from the people that we serve. Who knows, maybe we'll all sort of have a hug at the end or something,
Any more questions? Brilliant, thank you. And we've now got refreshments in the exhibition hall, but a massive round of applause for Kerry.